that kind of relationship with writing is one that feels more honest to my relationship with it, even though that's something that makes me really uncomfortable. Hey y'all, I'm Angela. I just wanted to take a few minutes to come on here and sort of set intentions for my writing for the rest of the year. Reset, look at what am I actually working on in terms of writing, what goals would be realistic for me, and sort of moving forward with that. I'm always a person that has not been writing as much as I feel like I should be. Now, I think that I, like a lot of people, tend to have really ambitious goals that are not realistic or reasonable. But even given that, often I have not been writing in the ways that I would hope to be writing, or writing as much as I would hope to be writing. One number that I think about a lot is 10 hours a week. That's something that Brandon Sanderson talks about a lot. He'll say that if you're thinking about like writing seriously, trying to go pro with it, that spending about 10 hours a week as kind of a minimum is something that makes sense. Now, obviously, Brandon Sanderson, aggressively prolific, and also is a person whose like profession is writing, and also all of his hobbies are writing. So to a certain extent, he's kind of a lot. That said, 10 hours a week does seem, on the surface at least, quite a reasonable amount to be doing. And that's not something that I'm ever coming close to during the school year. This year so far, when I've been super with it, I've managed to get up at like 5 or whatever and write for an hour before work, and then maybe an hour or two on the weekends, and that was huge and arguably unsustainable, and I was like very pleased with myself. And even then, that's not 10 hours a week. So on the one hand, I am trying to make peace with the fact that 10 hours a week, at least while I'm working, is not reasonable. That said, I do have a long history of not writing as much as I would hope to write, even when I don't have a lot going on. I'm really working on finding a balance for me in this moment. It seems like probably I do need to be writing more when I don't have a lot of other things going on in my life, and I should probably continue interrogating why am I not building schedules that work for me there. But given all of the things going on, I think it's reasonable to give myself some grace. And I have a lot of other stuff in my life right now. Like, I'm trying to get this channel back up. I'm playing a truly obnoxious amount of D&D. I'm trying to get a D&D club at school and also be like a half reasonable teacher. And so there's just a lot going on. I basically feel like I need to be okay with that. The other thing is that I've often had word goals, or especially time goals, like I'm gonna try and write 2 hours a day or whatever. And I've really struggled with those. So to a certain extent, I think that maybe I need to just accept that those don't work, or at least move forward trying to experiment with the idea that I'm never going to be a person that writes for a certain number of hours. This was something that John Green recently said in a video where he was talking about his writing life and was talking about how he has never written consistently. When he was writing in his lunch breaks and after work, when he was like in his 20s, he wasn't writing consistently. When he became a huge, giant bestseller, he wasn't writing consistently. He's never written a single book writing regularly in the kind of way that a lot of us aspire to, and certainly that I aspire to. And that was really interesting to me. It was just really helpful to listen to someone say, hey, I have always written for like 6 weeks every day, and then I stopped for 2 weeks so I could play video games. That kind of relationship with writing is one that feels more honest to my relationship with it, even though that's something that makes me really uncomfortable. So I think I'm gonna try and embrace that. Rest of the year, no goals for how much I need to write or how often I need to write. I'm just gonna have 2 things that I'm trying to do. Thing number 1, I'm gonna try and have 5 pieces out on submission at any given time. That is super doable. It is also something that I am definitely not doing right now. Part of that is that I was using Submission Grinder wrong, so I wasn't seeing all of the markets that my stories like should be sent to, and I fixed that, so hopefully it should be easier for me to submit things. And then for writing, I need to be writing 1 story a month. So getting that story done and through like all of the stuff so that it's ready to be submitted. I'm gonna be a little bit generous with myself on that timeline. So I definitely need to write a story in October, but I'm planning on spending this first week editing other stuff. So if my October story isn't ready for submission until mid-November, that's fine. But basically 1 story a month, which means I'm coming out of the year with 3 stories. And if those are like 6,000 words, great. And if those are 500 words, that's also great. This is actually basically a goal I had at the beginning of like last year. I don't even know. I've had the 1 story a month goal before. I've never respected it. but it's been there. That seems like a reasonable balance for where I am and what I'm doing. And also makes me very nervous. I feel like I'm not taking things seriously enough. I'm not prioritizing writing in the ways that I should be. And also simultaneously, like, I'm ignoring the part where honestly, in a lot of ways, a story a month is quite an ambitious goal. So I'm both worried that it's going to be too much and that it's not nearly enough. And I guess we'll just see how that works moving forward. So yeah, 5 things out on submission at all times, 1 story a month. That is all I need to expect for myself for the rest of the year. I would love to hear y'all's relationships with goals down in the comments. If there are certain structures for writing that help you meet what you need to be doing, if you have particular goals right now, all of that stuff, feel free to leave below. And that is about it, loves. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a little thumbs up. If you are curious about my writing endeavors, feel free to stick around. And that is all. Bye, loves. Be well.